May Flaum here for Dress It Up Buttons, and today we're making a resin Mickey pendant, mixing Jesse James beads with Dress It Up buttons. The first part of this project is to create your resin pendant. Now I'm actually using the pendant that I'm creating. It's actually a keychain form. I'm mixing 2 parts resin, equal parts. Remember, always look at the brand you're using and the manufacturer recommendations for best practices. I'm mixing up my resin here and then I'm pouring it into my keychain mold. And just a note, with resin projects, you'll usually make a couple. Usually there will be multiple resin parts being made because you have to mix a minimum amount. I am putting glitter in these to form the back side, adding a little more resin and mixing the glitter in. And then I am going to put some of these absolutely beautiful skydiver blue rhinestone flowers from Dress It Up into my Mickey Mouse. You'll notice I'm using a little pick tool. This is my resin pick tool that I specifically use for this purpose. You'll also notice I have glove on my fingers. That is to protect from the resin. You do want to avoid touching resin. And when I'm placing items like this into the resin, it's a definite must for me. Now's the hard part. Wait 24 hours at least, or until the resin is cured, assuming that you're using epoxy resin and not UV resin. Then, you guessed it, pop it out of the mold. You may have, if you have overdone it, or if you have any leak over the top, you may have a little bit to remove or clean up. In my case, nope, it's ready to go. And I have this Spring Lake winter Pantone strand from Jesse James Beads, and I think the color goes really well. It's not the same color as the Skydiver blue, but it's a complementary blue, and I love that. And I love the blue and the silver here with my silver glitter and my Mickey Mouse and everything. And I love that this is going to be a Disney themed necklace without being super heavy on the Disney. Now I've got some Glacier Lake. So we've got a third Pantone blue coming in, enamel chain. That's going to be the second strand of my necklace. What I'm going to do is make a 2-strand necklace to about the collarbone. And then at the collarbone, it will just be chain around the back. That's something that I really like to do with this enamel chain, the drop enamel chain here. And I just need to figure out how many links do I want, and also how much do I want to use. Now for this necklace, I'm going to be using wire wrapped loops, and that means I'm going to make a loop and then, as you can see, wrap the wire around, trim off the excess. And then once I have the beads on and this finished, that's when I like to take my pliers and just gently check that the wire ends are tucked in and not poking out. Now, as you can see, you just bend and then roll around the round nose pliers and then hold on with the either chain nose or bent nose. And I'm using the multi-tool, but you could use 2 different pairs of pliers as well, and wrap around firmly until everything is all in place the way you want it. And we're just going to repeat that exact same step over and over. Now, one thing that I will mention is what I like to do is wrap a couple of these fully, as you see me doing, before I start adding in the ones where I'm going to have to make my loop, then pull the next part through, then wire wrap, which you'll see me do in just a moment. And here you can see just kind of pressing the bead to make sure that everything is in place. Again, always the same process. So that's the great thing about this, is once you get this loop down, you're set for all those projects. Now here we go. We're going to pull. Do you see how I made the loop and then pulled that other beaded section through? Now I'm going to wire wrap this end, add my beads, make my loop, pull through the next item. So that's why sometimes on a necklace like this, I like to fully wire wrap some of the beads and then use other ones to connect, just so I'm not always having to connect every single one. I just think it's a little bit easier, not by much, of course. And here you can see we've got a lot of wire here, by the way. You don't need that much wire. I just like to try to have a bigger piece of wire and do a bunch to try to minimize waste. Bend the wire, loop over. It's a very simple process. The key is just remembering the order of the steps. And then here we go. We've got our bead. We've got it on the end of our wire. Pull it on down, pull it through the loop so that it's attached. What I love about this for necklaces, it makes a very secure necklace because everything is wire wrapped together. Nothing's going to fall apart or come undone because we have all this lovely wire wrapping. And once we are done with this bead, that's right, we're just going to repeat this step on all of the beads for both sides of the necklace. And again, just pressing in gently just to make sure there are no pokey wires sticking out there. When we get to this end, I have a silver connector loop here, and it's kind of big, but I thought it would be fun and statement piece. Same process. We're just pulling that loop through. The same thing would be said for chain if we were connecting chain in this way. And then hold it, hold on, and again, wrap. I like the repetitiveness of a project like this because once I get the flow of it, it's very fun. You can watch a TV show or a movie and get making. And for the enamel chain, there are little holes here on the ends of the enamel chain. So I am just putting a small jump ring through. And yes, sometimes I'm leaving this part in to show you. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries because you have to get the angle just right to get it to go on through there. There we go. And then this is just going to get looped. Now, normally I would use 2 pairs of pliers. However, my second pair of pliers has gone missing once again. So we are making do with 1 pair, and that's also to remind you that either chain nose, bent nose, you can make do with 1 as well. And I've got the other side that we need to get working on. So now I am connecting and finishing the other side exactly the same as the first side. You can see the necklace forming there, attaching everybody to the loops. Now what do we do? Well, now we're going to start attaching with a jump ring, and I've got a little oval connector as well. Mickey Mouse, the centerpiece of our show here. I just love how those flowers look in resin, and I love a resin pendant. I think it's fun. It adds a little bit of craftiness to my jewelry. It makes it one of a kind and completely unique. And there's a lot of styles, a lot of colors that you can go for and have fun with. So it's definitely a favorite of mine. Now I'm using jump rings to connect that oval connector to the 2 ends of the beaded section, and I could have simply done the wire wrap bead onto these. However, I didn't think about this until this point, so that wasn't an option. Remember that if you close off your wire wrap loop and you think, oh no, you don't have to throw that away, you can just add a jump ring and that will add your connector. Now I'm using my jump ring here to connect. I've got a chunky silver wire that we're going to be using, or chain, excuse me. I keep saying wire. Chain, we have a chunky silver chain from Jessie James Beads, and I'm just connecting that with a jump ring on the one side, and then I will connect a clasp to the other side. And I'm also going to put a little jump ring there, a little bead, just to connect that and make it a little more fun. Here you can see my finished project. Look at all of that blue, and this is 3 different colors of blue. I love how they complement each other. I love mixing and matching my stash, and I hope I have inspired you perhaps to get a little resin out and make something custom for yourself today. Have a great day. Be sure to tag Dress It Up with your creations. We'll see you next time.